No, this video and stream title are not clickbait. Not even a little bit. Trump is actually being canceled by MAGA, his own supporters, and not just that, but the America First movement, the sort of young neo-Nazi Americans movement, led primarily by Nick Fuentes. When I say this, you might be thinking, oh, is he getting a little bit of flack? Is he getting a little pushback? No. I have never seen his base so mad at him. This makes the Epstein Files controversy look like nothing even worth, talking about as something that might make Trump look bad to his own base. This is the kind of stuff that makes Trump look bad to his own base. Now, a lot of us criticize Trump, and we talk about his racism, his sexism, his xenophobia, etc., etc. But truly, Trump's not really a dedicated ideological racist or fascist or, xenophobe or any of these things, because at the end of the day, Trump would give up any principle or lack of principles in order to help his own bottom line. Trump will deal with people that he's called terrorists in the past if it means he gets a little extra money. He gets to get some land to build housing or condos or hotels on. He will give up on all of his hate if it means he gets to make more money. This is a very strong theme with Trump, and never has that been more clear than this case. It's obvious that for a lot of Trump supporters, the racism and xenophobia is a massive motivator for why they back Trump. And I don't think many of them ever thought that Trump would sell out their values to make an extra buck. But in this case, he very much did. The nation of Qatar is extremely wealthy. They employ slaves. They have mega cities built by slaves. Many of the population are global millionaires and billionaires that live there in order to benefit from lower human rights standards that benefit the ultra wealthy. It's a little bit of a very similar situation to Dubai, if you're familiar with what's up there, right? And so Qatar, as a country, when they saw that Trump was taking office, were like, oh, let's bribe the fuck out of this guy. He's easy to buy. And they gifted him, not America, not the president of America, they gifted him, Donald Trump, a golden private jet. It is like an $800 million private jet or something like that, or something huge, insane, ridiculously expensive private jet. They gave this to him. It's plated in gold, mind you. And it is now being converted into the new Air Force One, the president's main plane. And Trump will be allowed to keep it with all of the millions and millions and millions of dollars of Air Force One modifications, basically making it a mobile command center and bomb shelter in the air. He'll just get to keep that for the rest of his life. He just gets to have that now because the president/king/royalty of Qatar gave it to Trump as a personal gift/bribe. As you can imagine, since that happened, Trump and Qatar's relationship has been getting a lot more dirty, a lot more green, let's say. And Trump supporters do not have any positive opinions on the nation of Qatar. They see a country that is in the Middle East, and they're like, oh, we don't like anyone that comes from there. And sure enough, the response to Trump now giving them the green light and Pete Hegseth announcing that this has been done to build a Qatar airport on American soil, and I think Idaho people have been talking about. Yeah, Trump supporters have never been more pissed at Trump. The America First folks are angry, dude. It's crazy. Here are some prominent conservatives talking about this and criticizing Trump. Laura Loomer tweeted with 11,000 likes, "Never thought I'd see Republicans give terror financing Muslims from Qatar a military base on U.S. soil so they can murder Americans. I don't think I'll be voting in 2026. I cannot in good conscience make any excuse for the harboring of jihadis." This is where I draw the line. That's right, guys. The right is not happy with him. They feel betrayed. All because Trump wanted to make an extra buck.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately,
Trump
has
in
historically
2017
been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road, or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have
Before
to
the
stop
bribe.
the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people.
Like, this is absurd. Qatar is absolutely not friendly with the US and has backhanded dealings with extremely hostile groups to the United States. And yet, that's not the reason why most of these people are going to be mad. They're going to be mad because in their view, it's like they don't want a bunch of people from the Middle East flying planes over America. Like, could you imagine anything that the average Trump supporter would want less? Genuinely.
The time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately...
And that was him in 2017. Completely different tone, based on what we're hearing. Here's another comment. This one got 1.5 thousand likes. America first now means $20 billion to Argentina and letting Qatar build an Air Force base in Idaho. Here is a, I think, right-wing post. I did not pledge allegiance to the United States of Qatar. I don't want Qatari Muslims flying fighter jets over America. Islam is conquering the West while people are obsessed with the Jews. 9/11 and October 7th will be like dress rehearsals compared to what's coming. They are not happy with Trump right now.
People are obsessed with the Jews in APAC when the real problem are the Muslims. I voted for America first and for mass deportations, not for a bunch of Qatari Muslims flying fighter jets over our schools.
They're definitely going to let her stay. For sure. They definitely won't totally not care that she's conservative when they do the mass roundups.
Homes, churches, and even synagogues. Last time a Muslim flew a plane, it took down the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. So I'll say it again. Islam
that
and
is not
illegals
true.
have no place in America.
Isn't Islam the world's largest religion? I promise you the last time a Muslim flew a plane was not 9/11. Holy shit. Okay. Of course, here's the clip of Hegseth announcing this, and as you all know, the reaction has been very spicy. This is the Secretary of War announcing that an arguably hostile nation will now have a military presence in America, more or less.
No one other than President Trump could have achieved the peace that we believe will be a lasting peace in Gaza.
Look up Gaza and sort by news. It wasn't a lasting peace.
And Qatar played a substantial role from the beginning, working with our folks to ensure that came about. So I want to thank you for that historic peace. We look forward to joining the president as that gets, it's already been delivered, but as that's formally signed as well. And I'm also proud that today we're announcing, we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership. And I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us.
No adults in the room, baby.
No one other than President Trump could.
Literally, no adults in the room. No adults in the room at the White House. The response has been so overwhelming, I cannot emphasize enough how bad this is for Trump. Like, this is such a bad look. We've actually got a video here that goes over how bad the backlash is from MAGA. That was just some, like, highlight tweets that I saw on my timeline when I clicked on Twitter today. I imagine CNN's going to be filtering for some really spicy ones, though. So let's take a dive into how angry Trump's own base is at him right now. This could be his undoing. Ironically, this one thing.
Betrayed. Fierce backlash tonight from the MAGA base after this surprising announcement with great fanfare from the Trump administration.
I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined.
He's sitting next to a member of the Qatari royal family there, just to be clear. It's an announcement that caught everyone off guard. The administration greenlighting a plan for Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. And
this is totally going to be what the new South Park is about, isn't it? Oh, man. We got no South Park this week. It got delayed again, so considering they'll probably be doing almost all of the episode's production up until this next Thursday, I would guarantee this is what the episode will be about. They're going to parody this with, like houses are going to be regularly getting bombed by, like, Qatar fighter jets, and everyone's just going to have to pretend like it's normal and fine, or some shit like that. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with this, because there's no way they don't touch on this.
Trump's base is livid about it. Far-right activist Laura Loomer, who has Trump's ear, highly influential in MAGA world, lashing out. One of her posts, she says, "What the hell is going on? Why are we trying to train more Muslims how to fly planes on U.S. soil? Didn't we already learn our lesson? Why are we encouraging more Islamic infiltration of our country by the founders of..."
It's good to see they finally remember 9/11 again after Charlie Kirk. None of them posted about it after Charlie Kirk's death, because 9/11 was the day after, so none of them talked about it. They were all just talking about the death of Charlie Kirk. It replaced 9/11. But now, a month later, they finally remembered 9/11 again. Exactly 1 month later. It has officially been a whole month since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and they finally remember 9/11 again.
Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. This is very bad for our national security. And by the way, she had a lot more where that came from. Laura Loomer, in fact, has fired off about 40 more posts on X, slamming the decision. 40 posts on this today. Watch them populate the screen.
Damn,
they're mad.
She's mad.
At one point, writing, "This is where I draw the line. I am not voting in 2026. And then Steve Bannon came out and told Newsweek there should never be a military base of a foreign power on the sacred soil of America. Now, to clarify, Qatar is building a facility to house a squadron of F-15 pilots and teams. I mean, that's a lot of Qatari military personnel on an existing U.S. base. And maybe
with air capabilities, yeah.
Maybe there are serious security concerns with that. But there are concerns. There are when it comes to corruption. For one,
yeah, our sacred soil. That's some real blood and soil Nazi shit right there. Good catch.
This is the same country that gifted Trump.
I'm so used to this rhetoric, it doesn't even, like, register as weird to me anymore. It's like, oh, yep, that's just what conservatives say now. But it's good to still be like, wait a second, that was blood and soil shit right there. That was Nazi shit.
The luxury jet. Remember? The jet. Reported price tag on it was $400 million. The jet that Trump wants to use is Air Force One, right?
That's the jet I was telling you about.
And by the way, when it comes to money, because it always does, Trump's family and the Qataris are business partners now. Eric Trump recently unveiled plans for a new golf course and a beachside resort in Qatar. And Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has raised billions of dollars from several Middle Eastern countries, including Qatar. Qatar is also central to the Trump's Middle East crypto strategy, which is now the bulk of...
God, I've never heard so many words strung together that make me want to fucking puke, bro. Holy shit. The Trump family's Middle Eastern crypto strategy. Those words should never be combined into a sentence. That should be illegal. I don't like that.
His net worth helped make his children billionaires. Most recently, Qatar also made sure to stay in Trump's good graces by rolling out the red carpet for the president during his visit as president. Fighter jets escorted Air Force One into the airspace of Qatar. On the ground, the spectacle had cyber trucks, horses, and camels.
God.
A welcome for a royal. But on top of all of...
Oh my God, it's so gay. Oh man. Oh my God, man. How did humanity get this gay? It's not even just America. This is several countries participating in this. How did humanity get this gay? How did we do this? How did we let this happen? Military parade for Trump in Qatar featuring Cybertrucks. Please just old yeller me, dude. Holy fuck. This is beyond parody at this point. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
That there is this. Trump just signed an executive order defending Qatar's security, giving NATO-level security guarantees to Qatar. Which, by the way, just to be clear about what that could mean, I mean, it should be obvious, but I guess I should also note that Qatar has been hit with missiles from Iran and Israel, both in the past 3 months. It's an incredible series of events. I mean, by the way, in any case, it's an incredible series of events to lay all that out. I can't even believe I'm saying it, and this is real, but it is. But then there's also this, what Trump actually said in the past on the record about the Qataris before they showered him with gifts and money.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
All right, Zelensky, if you watch my content, as I know you do, of course, you're a very busy man, so of course you only have time for the best of the best when it comes to global political and news coverage. What Zelensky needs to do right now is gather all the most corrupt businessmen and politicians in Ukraine and get them to contact Trump and get him involved in some shady, big money-making deals. At that point, I feel like within a few days, Trump will be giving Ukraine the golden, premium, America fuck yeah treatment. There will be fleets of helicopters wiping Russia's armies off the face of Ukraine within a matter of days if Trump starts having shady business dealings with corrupt Ukrainian officials. That is what we need to happen. Like, Zelensky needs to be like, guys, listen, I swear this isn't a trap. If you're engaged in some corruption or you're willing to do some sleazy shit, I need you to contact me. We might have a job for you for the good of the country. You know what I mean? That might be the move from Zelensky right now, if he wants to get full unabashed U.S. support.
And that right there is a big part of why MAGA is breaking with Trump over this Qatari Air Force facility in the state of Idaho. But by the way, this is not the only crack splitting the MAGA world. This was today, but Joe Rogan has spoken out, tearing into Trump's immigration policy.
Ooh.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific.
Dressed as a priest.
When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years. Yeah.
This is what you voted for. They said, they literally said, we'll start with the criminals, we'll start with the worst of the worst, and go from there. What do you think they meant when they said, and go from there?
Everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Tucker Carlson going after the administration for using Charlie Kirk's assassination to try to silence critics.
Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing.
I don't know if this is so much these creators are organically falling off of the Trump train and it's showing in their content, or if it's the fact that they have reached the platform they have because they're really good at taking litmus tests of the culture and the political landscape. And if these folks are, I see these folks more like canaries in the coal mine, not the ones creating Trump's problem. If these guys are recognizing a turn in sentiment among their own audiences for Trump, then that is going to be reflected in their rhetoric and their content, and that's what we're seeing from Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Laura Loomer, and all these other right-wing pundits right now. Makes me think that, like, a good proportion of Trump's supporter base might have already fallen off, and these creators might actively be pivoting to do more Trump-critical content in response to that trend. Who would know better if that's happening than these creators who can see their comments, they can see their stats, they can see their likes and dislikes. they would have a good idea of where the right's sentiment is right now. And I think this is our litmus test.
They can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul.
And when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, Marjorie Taylor Greene slamming a statement by the White House that labeled any support for the release of the Epstein files as a, quote, hostile act.
The hostile act has been against these women for so many years now. The hostile act is covering up for Jeffrey Epstein and everyone else that's been involved in this. And that's the real hostile act.
You almost said
Kristen
Donald
Holmes
Trump.
is out front live outside the White House. And, you know, Kristen, obviously we're putting in the context of so many issues where there are fault lines. But tonight, real anger in MAGA world about this latest announcement. What are you learning?
Yeah, there is real anger about that. And I do want to talk about the cracks overall, because I actually think what we just learned moments ago, which is not about the Air Force Base, but actually about these federal worker layoffs, is going to cause real strain on the relationship between the administration and a lot of Republicans on Capitol Hill, because we've just learned in a court filing that more than 4,000 federal workers were laid off today. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, it's about 315 workers at the Department of Commerce, 466 workers at the Department of Education, 187 at the Department of Energy. That list goes on and on. A couple of things to point out here. There were already reservations among Republicans as to how this shutdown was being handled. We've heard them speak out about it. The fact that the House has not been called into session. The fact that these workers' pay was being threatened. We heard President Trump saying some workers didn't deserve to get paid, and at one point saying they were going to look at the law differently, the law he signed in 2019, to say that they wouldn't have to pay those furloughed workers. But now you have a
Once this goes through, the government will effectively, you're really going to feel it. There's been some pretty big government purges to this point, and I imagine many of you, depending on your situation, have felt it sooner and more substantially than others have. When this goes through, we're going to feel it bad. And the issues will accumulate over time. One of my biggest concerns is food quality. The FDA will probably be borderline abolished. Right now, my garden is burgeoning with green, ripening tomatoes. Like, when I planted them, I didn't realize how big the plants were going to get. Maybe they're a special kind, but they ballooned and started fruiting fast. They flowered and fruited really fast, and now they are burgeoning with green tomatoes that are ripening up and getting ready to be picked. There are so many of them on those plants. Like, it is probably going to end up easily being over 100 tomatoes if I pick them all. So that's pretty cool, and I definitely plan to help use that to substitute certain things when I cook. You know, if I need tomatoes, well, go to my garden. But man, you can only rely on that so much, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be trusting a lot of the food in grocery stores and restaurants in the coming years, because there will be no government oversight to ensure it's safe. I'm not saying it's unsafe now. I'm saying very soon there will literally not be any people being paid to oversee these industries and ensure they are being done properly. It'll entirely be up to these corporations, these businesses, to uphold those standards out of their own desire to do so, whether it be to maybe the market or something. I think a lot of people are assuming oh, we don't need health standards. If a restaurant has bad health standards, it'll just do bad in the market and shut down. Let's hope that's true. Let's hope that's true.
Complete restructuring of the federal workforce. Of course, we know that the president has extended powers during a government shutdown, but it's really unprecedented to use them in this way to restructure the government essentially in your image. Because what we know from Russell Vought, the head of the Office of Management and Budget, and from President Trump is that they want to cut Democratic.
It's not Russell Vought, it's Russell Vought. Literally, Vought spelled exactly how in The Boys, and ironically, Russell Vought is literally the mastermind behind not just Trump's campaign, but the entire massive right-wing culture war takeover that has been happening since 2014. Russell Vought is one of the, maybe the big brain man behind all of it. It's spelled here. I'll type it in the chat for you guys. Oh, wow. Caps lock. There you go. V-O-U-G-H-T. Just like in The Boys. Exactly like in The Boys.
Programs. They want to cut programs that don't align with President Trump. And now we're learning how many people lost their jobs just today. And that was a real point of contention for a lot of Republicans. They didn't like the threats about money. They didn't like the threats of layoffs. And now you're seeing the actual layoffs. And how this impacts the framing of this shutdown is really going to be what's interesting to watch, because it does not seem as though any side is backing down, even though you've got this real uneasiness among Republicans when it comes to this kind of behavior.
Quote, betrayed fierce backlash.
So yeah, it would seem that for the first time for real, since really, I guess the Epstein files stuff would be the closest we've seen to this, but even that kind of pales in comparison to this. MAGA is angry at Trump. The America First movement is angry at Trump. His most loyal and hardcore dedicated supporters feel truly betrayed. This is the point where, for MAGA, the decision has to be made. Is it a movement about supporting Trump at all costs? Would they follow him into wokeness? If Trump switched to being a hardcore leftist, super woke, liberal type, would they follow him there just because he's Trump? Or do they like Trump because he stands for what they do? At this point, this is where we have that question answered. Because Trump very clearly no longer stands for what they do. And a lot of them seem to realize that now. Will this stick? That is the question. And I really hope that soon enough we've got some good answers. I'm really curious to see what Trump's polling looks like in the coming months after all of this. I think it's going to have a profound effect. Because the group we could never really seem to budge off of supporting and approving of Trump were the most radical far right. Now we might see a substantial drop in support and approval from that hardcore solid red base that I think he's always taken for granted. And I think that taking it for granted just bit him on the ass. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It really does support me and help a lot, and it's totally free. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. Follow my social medias linked down below, and if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, gifting a sub on my website, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me though, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.